And we're back. So we're taking a break from Stoners for this week and next week and having standalone stories. This week is from Biblical, my ongoing comic, and next week will be another one. Then we're going to take another break for a week, and then we're back to Stoners, and we're going to see what happens next. But this week, Biblical, what's going on here? Biblical is, as I said, my ongoing comic. Just finishing starting issue 6 right now. When I finish issue 6, that'll end the first arc, and I'm going to make a trade. And you can go and buy it now. It's like 75 cents an issue if you get it digitally. Yes, go buy my comics. That's a very important message that I think you should spread far and wide. But what's going on? What was my intention with Biblical? So I have more than two. I have two big obsessions. One is obviously comic books, and the other, strangely, is theology. So one may think these are strange bedfellows, and one may indeed be right.
Why are you holding my hand? Where's your other hand? Between two pillows. Those aren't pillows.
I am, in fact, a rabbi, a ordained rabbi. There are several different types of rabbinical ordination you can get. You can get like the real proper one, which means studying for a number of years and becoming an expert in areas of Jewish law, and then taking a written exam with the Jerusalem rabbinate, and then having an oral exam. And it's a very harrowing process. And I am a bit of a lazy, shiftless loser, which I think explains my other obsession with comic books. So I don't have that rabbinical ordination. I have something called Rav Mani, which basically means I can do weddings and bar mitzvahs. And if you're going to do anything rabbinically, professionally, that's the one you need. Well, the truth is, to do a wedding, you just have to open a prayer book, go and buy one, and it tells you what to do. Interestingly enough, it did actually give this rabbinical ordination gave me my favorite job of all time, which was when I worked on the Jewish divorce court of Miami.
Well, this afternoon, at least 2 rabbis are under arrest, accused in a bizarre plot of forcing Orthodox Jewish men into giving their wives religious divorces by torturing them.
But anyway, I digress. We've gone on lots of tangents here. Let me talk about biblical. One of my bugbears with secular society is they often view the Bible as being a very simplistic, childish document, which it doesn't matter what one believes about life, like if you believe in God, if you're religious, if you're not religious. To think that the Bible is a simplistic document is just foolish. It's the underpinnings of Western civilization morality, for better or worse. It really is. And to think it's children's stories just implies you don't know what the document says too clearly.
I'd like to be in your children's book.
And this little story is a good example of that. The Tower of Babel is always kind of a confusing story that doesn't make much sense on the surface, especially if you look at what actual details the Bible tells you about the Tower of Babel. And the other basic idea, like, how is man going to make a tower to climb up to heaven to make war on God? That seems to me to be a bit of a loser of an idea, and I don't think you'll be able to convince anybody to be able to do it, let alone convince the whole nation of people to build a massive tower and put their whole lives into it. It just seems like a stupid idea that's not going to work. God is clearly a metaphysical being, and I don't think people in antiquity were any more stupid than we are today. Probably less, because they didn't have Twitter accounts, and they could say things in more than 73 characters, or however many you get to say. Anyway, so if you look at the story in the Bible, it gets even more oblique, because the place they choose to build it is in a valley, and if you're going to build a tower to heaven, build at the top of a mountain. Duh, yeah, that makes sense. And it goes into details about them making bricks, and really, I think it makes more sense to mine rock and build it with that. That's a much stronger foundation, a stronger structure. So, and this is what I heard from a brilliant rabbi called Rabbi Ari Khan, who, again, Jewish, not Jewish, whatever. If you're anybody who's smart and enjoys intelligent discourse on any subject, check out his stuff. There's tons of it. It's free, and he really writes very, very well. His premise was that the war on God depicted in the Babel story was a theological war, a war upon the idea of there being a kind, loving God, which I think is a theological war that still continues today. And he brought it all together by saying the location that the tower was built was where the waters from the flood all drained out, and the bricks were made literally from the sediment of the dead of all the people who died in the flood. And the tower was more of a again, I'm not saying it existed, didn't exist, whatever you want to believe, totally cool, totally fine. But this is how the Bible portrays it. The tower in itself was a monument to God's power and cruelty, and so it was a theological war of God. So this is a little more of a three-dimensional view of a kind of simplistic babyish story, which is what I want to do with biblical in general. We talk about there's a good story in it about the raven and the dove on the flood and Noah's Ark, and then that takes, strangely enough, into Jonah and the whale. And again, which is totally different to how you would possibly imagine it. But, don't take my word for it. Go right now to www.biblicalcomics with an X on the end.com and go and buy yourself a bunch of issues and read them and say they're fantastic and tell your friends to read them. And that will be what us Jews call a big mitzvah. A big mitzvah. Okay, sports fans, I will see you next week to talk about next week's strip. Toodle pip. Bye.